Hey everybody, Dan Liberto here, and today I want to talk about how to befriend your emotions, how to process your emotions using a framework called RAIN. So I'm just going to kind of give an example of how we're going to use this framework to process an emotion that we all feel. And the beautiful thing here is that you know, we can tell that we're all interconnected beings because we all experience the same emotions, right? And so we share that in common. And I thought of an example, just kind of what I see in a lot of people's day-to-day life, what I see in my day-to-day life, and that's kind of a feeling of being overwhelmed. You know, like there's too much going on, there's not enough time. You know, a lot of us are so busy just trying to take care of so many different things all the time, especially if we have families, kids, you know, maybe a parent that we need to care for, grandparents, moms, dads, whatever, and we feel overwhelmed from time to time. So let's create a scenario where, you know, you have to, maybe you've got a lot going on. You've got to take your kids to baseball practice. Then you need to follow up with your, you know, with your business, and then you need to go to your group. Then you need to make dinner. You've got to clean the dishes. You've got to do laundry. You know, you've got a million things going on, and you're just overwhelmed. There's too much happening. And you don't even have time to process your emotions, right? You're not even sensing them. So the first thing you want to do is you want to recognize. You want to stop and recognize, okay, you're going to use the R, so you're going to recognize your emotion, you're going to tag it. You're going to tag it. You're going to say, okay, overwhelmed. Okay? And by tagging the emotion, what happens is you create a construct in your mind, and you put the emotion in a box that makes sense. Right? Because our mind is always trying to make sense of things in a construct of a neat little box, right? And so the mind can't really make sense of emotions that easily until you start to tag that emotion, right? So if you say, okay, overwhelmed, oh, okay, anxious, oh, okay, you know, whatever it may be. And usually we don't need to tag, you know, quote unquote positive emotions. And that's the beautiful thing. You know, we don't need to tag those emotions. We don't need to say, oh, okay, you know, happy. Oh, okay, loved. Oh, okay, loving. But actually, if you do tag those emotions, that's where gratitude comes from. That's how we develop gratitude. But that's for a different day. Okay, so the first step in RAIN to do is to recognize what's happening. Recognize and tag the emotion. So in this example, oh, okay, overwhelmed. Got so much stuff going on, I'm overwhelmed. Okay, tag it. The second step is to accept the emotion. Let the emotion, let the feeling of the emotion just flow through you. Okay, let it completely wash over you. Completely. Don't resist it, don't fight it, just feel it. Okay, even if it's something that's negative, something that's bad, embrace that negativity. Okay, we all have what is termed the shadow side. Okay, and if we push away our shadow side, then we're not being our true self. You know, and we're not loving ourselves for who we truly are. Okay, so, you know, we need to embrace all of our emotions, not just the positive ones. Okay, so, you know, that here comes that sense of overwhelm, boom, just let it flow through you. And by letting the emotion flow through you, by feeling it, what you do is you you don't make it get stuck in your system, in your energy, right? You let the energy flow through you, just like the breath flows in and flows out. And you know, my personal belief is that a lot of cause, you know, a factor of the cause of dis-ease is a body that is not at ease, is a body and mind that is not at ease. Okay, I mean the word dis-ease. Okay, and how do we create those states? By not, you know, one way is by not processing emotions. There's lots of other factors: diet, exercise, you know, genetics, all that stuff. But this is also a contributor. Okay, that we have blocked energy that we don't let flow through us. Okay. So that's how we clear the block energy, is just by letting that emotion flow through us, even if it's an unpleasant emotion, even if it's something that we don't want, that we have a tendency and a biological programming to push away. It's important not to push it away and to really feel it. How does your body feel? You know, do you constrict? Do you feel tight? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your head? Where do you feel it? Okay, and really feel it. Take some time, and after you've fully accepted and embraced the emotion and let it flow through you, now it's time to investigate. Okay, so why am I feeling overwhelmed? Okay, then you just start tagging it. You know, I've got a lot of stuff going on, and you investigate it with like a loving kindness. So like with your heart, right? And so with compassion, it's like, you know what? Yes, I have a lot of stuff going on, and tons of things to do, and tons of people to care for, and all these, you know, whatever it may be, and you know, you really give yourself some love. You know what? I'm doing this for other people, you know, and you just give yourself a break, you know, and realize that, you know, it's identify why you're feeling overwhelmed, and the intentions behind it. You know, that the intentions are good, and that life is overwhelming, and you know, sometimes if we make it that way, but sometimes it just happens. And then, you know, the next thing to kind of do, in a sense of this, when I see a lot of people, they got a lot on their plate, is to start to prioritize. Okay, once you identify, okay, you know, what is mission critical today? You know, because I can tell you one thing for sure. The laundry, it's going to be there tomorrow. Okay, it's not going to get up and run away. Sometimes I wish it would. This is why I like to have a little amount of clothes. But, you know, I know, you know, people take, you know, pleasure in having clothes and stuff like that. So, but is it mission critical? If you're feeling overwhelmed, God, I have this list of stuff I have to do. Is it mission critical to take care of the laundry today? Honestly, no. It'll be there tomorrow still. And it'll still be there the next day if you don't do it tomorrow. Okay, so you're not going to die if you don't do the laundry today. That's just one example. Now, it's important to remain, to keep a clean environment and stuff like that too. So don't just like keep pushing it off. You know, same thing with the dishes and stuff like that. You know, maybe you've had a long day. Maybe you just want to rinse them off, and you don't need to do the whole full dish deal. Okay, the dishes will still be there tomorrow. But that doesn't mean that we don't neglect, you know, things, tasks and chores and stuff like that. It just means that if there's things that are more pressing, if you had a really long day, it's still going to be there tomorrow. Okay, instead, sit down, take a break, and you know, a rule that I have for myself personally is after 8 o'clock, I'm done. That's it. It's me time after 8 o'clock. And I know that that's not, you know, that can't be the situation every day, and I know that people have different situations, but you know, at least set a time a time of the day. I don't care if it's for 15 minutes, I don't care if it's for half an hour or 5 minutes, whatever, to have some me time. Okay, this is so important. This is so important. This is the only way that you're going to really be able to help other people too. Okay, and so we investigated it, We investigated why we're being overwhelmed, and we started to prioritize things. This is when we start to, come to not conclusions. When we start to come to, we start to create solutions, okay, for how we're feeling, right? And understand why we're feeling that way. Okay, this is going to bring us to a state of solving, of understanding our emotions and becoming more in tune with ourselves, and understanding what our real problems are when we're experiencing these emotions, because we can't just take them at face value. This is turning out a lot longer than I wanted it to. Okay, so let me continue on. The second thing, the last aspect of it is non-identification. So when we experience these emotions, a lot of times we feel that we are that emotion. And if we were that emotion, if that were the case, then we would always be changing. And the thing is that our emotions always change, but who we really are not those emotions. Those emotions are aspect of our current situation and our current reality, our current perception, and our current experience. So that's not who we really are. Who we really are, well, is really up, for you to decide. But the soul, the soul is really, well, I don't want to get too much into like personal feelings, but just, so the non-identification with the emotion, right? That you're not your emotions, and the best thing to do in this case is to kind of watch, to observe your emotions too, to feel them, and then also to observe them, and identify situations that trigger those emotions, and then really meditate on that and learn why you're feeling this way, and to accept feeling this way, and to let it flow through you, so you don't let it fester in your system, and then to transcend the emotion into something, to transcend the emotion into nothingness. This is how we transcend our emotions, is that we come into touch with ourself and who we really are and how we're really feeling. And please, don't be too busy to do this. Don't be too busy to do this. It's the most important way that you can understand who you are is through your emotions, and not who you are, how you're feeling. So yeah, just to recap, rain. First thing you want to do when an emotion comes up, and you're feeling a certain way, and you want to understand it, is recognize the emotion, tag it. Overwhelmed, rushed, sad, angry, whatever it is, tag that emotion. Okay, boom. Now you give your brain a framework to work with, right? And then you go to the second step, accept. So then you accept it, and you just let the emotion, boom, rush through you. Don't hold on to it. Just feel it with all that you can. Feel the emotion, really feel it. Okay. Investigate, and start to investigate the feelings, start to investigate why, and try to understand yourself. Give yourself some love. Investigate with lovingness, and then not identify. Don't identify with the emotion. It's not you. It's just a feeling. It's your monkey brain coming up with things and feelings. So no need to identify with it. That's not really who you are, especially if you're experiencing chronic emotions that are negative. That's not who you are. It's time to transcend into a being that understands really who you are, and grow from any emotions that you're pushing away. Grow from them. It's yourself saying, hey, it's time to grow. Okay. So I hope that you can take away a thing or two from this little video here. I'm sorry I made it so long. I didn't mean to. I'm going to try and keep these short, but you know, it's a work in progress. Have a great Sunday and enjoy the rest of your weekend.